as it relates to, the music industry and stuff. And I'm trying
Mhm.
not to psych myself out and just be like, oh, you're 34, like you're past your the 2 days as music goes. It's time to wrap it up. I'm like, nah, man, I gotta just keep doing it. So
Mhm. I
34.
definitely
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I definitely feel like especially in your genre, age doesn't matter as much. I know in those like manufactured record label pop stars, age
Hmm.
does matter a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like in a lot of the other genres, it doesn't really matter because, like, think of a band like Kiss or ACDC or whatever, still have a very loyal fan base. And granted, they have been doing it since they were in like their 20s, but they're all quite up there in age now. So I don't really feel like music ever has an age to it. It's just the music will speak for itself.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say is as long as you're putting out good music, it really doesn't matter. And I always use the reference of Two Chains. I know he started
Mhm.
out, with S Titty Boy, and you heard, obviously heard like Duffel Bag Boy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like he rebranded himself as Two Chains. And I mean that was in his late 30s, I think 40s, and now he's, I think, I could be saying this wrong, maybe late 40s now into his 50s,
Mm.
like really killing it now
Oh yeah.
versus before. And not to say that he wasn't really killing it before, but he's definitely made himself a name now versus how he
Hmm.
was before. So that's always my kind of inspiration, if you will, when it comes to just kind of pushing and just making sure that, I give it everything and just keep putting out the music that I want to put out, not what everybody expects me to put out, if you will.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's really all you have to do, right? Music is supposed to be fun. There's no really way to like tell you how to do it in
No,
a
they're
lot of
real.
circumstances.
Especially now, there's so many different ways that you can do it that, I mean, you can't put somebody into a mold anymore or a
Hmm.
certain expectation for what they should be putting out. I know there's obviously like things that are trending and
Hmm.
whatnot, but overall, I mean, I like people that kind of expand and drift outside the box for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, I definitely agree. The first band that comes to mind with that regard is the closest thing I could call them, I guess, is pop punk, but the band AJR
Hmm.
has done a lot. Um, like their each song is, it might as well be its own genre
Yeah,
almost on their specific albums. And I'm a huge fan of bands like that kind of just do whatever it is they want. Even within one album, every song sounds different.
for sure. I mean, that's where I got off with pause with like Linkin Park.
Hmm.
They had kind of some similar sound, and then you just see the progression after each album. There's like a different sound that they've tried,
Oh yeah.
a different melody, a different tone. And everybody, I remember when they put out their last album and everybody basically jumped off the bandwagon and were like, I don't know who these guys are anymore. Where's the guitar? I'm like, dude, they have to try something different. If
Mm.
it's great to hear the same thing over and over, especially from a legendary band like them
Oh
as
yeah.
an example. But it's also cool to see how they can branch out of the pocket. And honestly, I still felt like their last album was still like Linkin Park. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree to that.
that's a personal opinion. But
I really
you know,
liked Heavy more than
Heavy is a
anything.
fire song. Yeah,
Um, but I think it was the battle song or something along those
Battle
lines.
Symphony. Yep.
Yeah, Battle Symphony. That's what it was. I wasn't a huge fan of that as a single.
Okay.
But yeah, I used to have a pretty opinionated um look on Linkin Park,
Mhm.
but I think
Yeah.
time has given me enough of a retrospective that I understand more what they were doing in terms
Hmm.
of like you just said, experimenting with different things every time. The peak Linkin Park sound to me was Living Things.
Okay.
I loved Living Things because it took the like more darker, grittier, like rock-ish sound that they did for Minutes to Midnight and
Yep.
combined it with the even darker electronica of
Yeah.
A Thousand Suns to create like this really solid sound that I think worked for all of them really well.
Yeah. They just kept building off of what they just did
Mm-hmm.
prior. And then, I mean, their last album was definitely a little bit different as far, obviously compared to like a Minutes to Midnight
Yeah.
or a Thousand Suns type of feel. But again, I think they just tried to just try something different, and that's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to try it, and see if it works, and if not, you go back to the drawing board and move forward.
Yeah. I'm very
Plain and
curious to
simple.
see when or if they'll do anything new. Like obviously, I know it'll be hard to move on without Chester. I
Yeah,
understand, but like I feel like you can't let the Linkin Park name die. I feel like that wouldn't be right to him either.
yeah.
Um, and I know the internet rumor for a really long time, and I don't know the legitimacy of any of this, but the internet rumor for the longest time was that Ollie Sykes of Bring Me the Horizon
Hmm.
might step in
Okay.
as their new like primary clean lyric singer, if you will.
Right.
Um, but I don't know how well he'd fit in a situation like that, and I also don't know any of the legitimacy of these rumors. But
Right. And those are tough shoes to fill.
oh yeah,
I mean, you got to really be open to it and understand the role that you're taking, and also the role that you're, and I use this loosely, replacing,
mm-hmm.
you know. And so, I mean, you got to handle that delicately, and obviously, there's going to be a lot of, there'll probably be, whoever steps in, you're obviously going to be like the backlash
Oh
of,
yeah,
true fans. No, you just left it alone, you just leave it, Chester wouldn't have wanted it this way, and blah blah blah, whatever. But
mm-hmm.
everyone's gonna have an opinion about it, whether it's yay or nay. So you kind of just make a decision, like we said before with the album. You just make a decision with it and just see how it works,
Mm-hmm.
see what happens.
I completely agree.
I know we've been talking about a lot of music, but I know music is not the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to what you're doing. And first and foremost, as we get into this, would like to just welcome everybody who have been tuning in or will tune in later. And I want to leave the floor open for you to kind of introduce yourself and share who I'm actually speaking with today, and
Yeah,
give a little bit of feedback on who you are, man. What's going on?
awesome. So I am. My real name is James Hurley. Uh, Currently from I'm New Hampshire, from New Hampshire, but from Massachusetts originally. Um, and in my heart, as I was telling you earlier, I am a filmmaking person, primarily into television production. The DJ Witchcraft stuff is something that kind of just came along a couple of years ago, 2017, I believe. That I was just like, hey, this should be fun. Like I'd been doing music in some capacity since I was like in elementary school. Like I was part of the school
Jeez.
band, and like I
Okay.
had written lyrics and stuff like that to some songs or whatever. They weren't great, and they definitely still aren't. But yeah, so music has always been a huge part. But the DJ Witchcraft stuff just kind of came out of nowhere, and I'm even shocked to myself that it's still going to this day, and I still have fun doing it. But yeah, the television production is my primary thing. I have been the host of actually a music talk show since 2013.
Oh,
That
dope.
would probably be the primary thing, like my claim to fame, if you will. Um, Called James's House of Rock on the local cable access channel in Burlington, Massachusetts.
Nice. I work right near there, so that's dope.
Nice, yeah. Uh, I know they're not directly involved with Right Mind or even Mind a Collective Genius, but both Hero the MC and Greyhound, when he was still in the music industry, if you're familiar with either one of them,
Of course.
were on the James Sasser Rock show as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I was
That's
very closely involved with Hero actually, even through the start of the Bars Over Bars and
dope.
everything.
Likewise. Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise. No, it's all love, man. Like when I remember when we were talking off air, like the statistic that, not the statistic. I don't. What's the word that I'm looking for? The numbers, if you will, when it comes to how long you've been doing this and how old you actually are. And again, you don't have to divulge your age. I don't want
Oh, I don't
that's
mind.
something, but
I'm sure by now it must be publicly available somewhere. Yeah. So I have been in the television and film industry seriously, if you will, like actually doing active stuff for about 10 years now. This August will be 10 years actually. But if you want to count the like stupid little videos I used to make on my family's old tape camera,
Yep, yep.
we're probably talking closer to 15 years. And yeah, these sound like bigger numbers, but I think putting it into the perspective that I'll be turning 22 in a couple months, um,
That's crazy.
makes that even wilder. So I joined the cable access channel in Burlington when I was 11 years old. um,
Jeez.
at
Why filmmaking? Why film like that? Just I don't. Yeah, why filmmate? Let's
Yeah.
just start there. Why filmmaking?
So I like I mentioned that old family tape camera. I used to have a blast just filming like these weird like Lego stop motion stuff. I filmed stuff where I like had like these paper dolls or whatever that I used to put on sticks
Yeah,
and stuff. I don't know really where it came from, but the idea of like creating worlds was always super interesting to me. Like I
I feel
always,
you.
yeah, I always love the idea of creating characters and worlds and like um just having fun filming stuff. And then the local cable access channel had this middle school program that they called the Video Voyagers, and you
Okay.
could sign up as early as the summer between 5th and 6th grade. So that's what I did. And the Video Voyagers program taught you the basics of like using a camera, writing a script, be like doing skits and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And what's really funny is at the time I wasn't as adaptive to television. I actually had my heart set on music. I had
Okay.
been doing music for a while at that point, and I thought that I would just continue doing music until I started doing the Video Voyages program and found that television was a whole lot more fun. And then I proceeded then a couple of years after that to combine that love for music that I always had and the love for television to start what would become James's House of Rock.
Interesting. Interesting. You and I would have been if our ages actually aligned. You and I would have been a really good team because like growing up, one of my favorite things was actually like getting the Lego kits, building them, putting them together.
Yeah.
And like I was an only child, so you can imagine the imagination that I would have to have,
Mm-hmm.
playing by myself with these Legos, and I had Matchbox cars, stuff like that.
Nice.
So, you know, just I would always just create these stories and I would just go off like forever and ever and ever.
Oh
So
yeah.
like just like you were saying, like with the Legos and stop motion and stuff, we would have definitely made a pretty cool team and the stories that we would have created would have been pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, we can still create cool stories now. We're both old enough to actually have the resources to do it.
That's true. We make even bigger productions
Yeah,
now.
exactly. I've been trying for a few years now. The pandemic really took a huge hit on it to start a freelance concert and music video filming business. uh
It's definitely needed for sure. I know a lot of artists that would definitely buy into something like that. I mean, it's slowly building up, but it's not where I think it could be.
mhm.
Obviously, speaking somebody that does performances and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, obviously footage and photos and definitely video is definitely just super key and super beneficial for any artist. So to have more available resources like that would definitely be super dope
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. But yeah, the point was to me being the filmmaker and the music lover, obviously I could film the music videos and the concerts. And then I have photography friends that could take like photos of the concerts or even like band photos, album covers, something like that. Um, but I was also thinking, even in time, finding graphic designers to do album covers or like tour marketing or like social media marketing, and I would like to make something bigger out of it.
Yeah, have a
Just
whole
need to do the first few initial ones to get a portfolio together, if you will.
yeah, of course. I mean, you could have a whole media team
Mm-hmm.
basically. But yeah, like I said off air with this podcast, you got to start. Just take the baby steps, start small, get those things underway, and then just keep building off of that, and it'll come, it'll happen. I mean, you're
Eventually.
still you're still very young, so you got
Yeah.
plenty. Fingers crossed, you have plenty of time, and you'll definitely get it done.
Yeah.
You know,
The biggest roadblock right now is I am still in college. So
that'll
um,
definitely do it.
the classes get in the way of being able to attend all these like Friday night shows and stuff like that.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we do have ones on Saturday too.
Mm.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Well, then
just
I have
kidding.
to work to pay my tuition.
Also beneficial. Yeah, definitely
Yep.
understand.
Yeah,
Definitely
work
understand
my,
that
my work my day job.
for sure. Yeah, definitely feel you on that. I did classes, then I ran track, and
Mm.
then Fridays, I think Saturdays and Sundays, Saturdays when I didn't have a track meet, was working. So
Yep.
definitely feel you on that one. It's important. You got to get it
Yeah.
done. But
This last semester I was in 5 classes for college, and then I was
mm,
working 2 jobs, 2 part-time jobs. And then for a time I was recording 1 episode of James Rock and 1 episode of the podcast JHR Backstage uh, per week, on top of
jeez.
everything, and trying to do other creative film stuff, obviously, while I was at it. But
Hey, you got to stay busy for sure.
mm,
And as long as you're enjoying it, that makes the best of it. If you're not
definitely.
enjoying it, then like my high recommendation is just to let something go. So whatever you're not enjoying, just let it go. It's not worth it
Mm,
for sure.
absolutely.
So
Uh,
how did
oh
you
yeah,
get into the House of Rock type of thing, right? It's House of Rock. I'm saying that
yeah. So James's House of Rock, or just
James's House of Rock.
for ease of remembrance, JHR. That's what I've been calling it
JHR. Okay,
recently.
gotcha.
Um, the so yeah, like I briefly touched upon, finding this new love for television just a couple of years prior, but had given me like a lot of inspiration and like energy and motivation to do more within it, because
Yeah.
I remember on one of my first days doing the Video Voyagers program, uh, they mentioned that volunteers could create their own shows on the network, and that immediately got my mind like racing 10 million miles a minute. And so like I already had the love for music and didn't really want to give that up while I was um finding this new love for film and television. So I was like, hey, why don't I do a show about music? And initially the show's concept started by just like reading out like band biographies and stuff like that. Like I'd research a band, I'd find their whole history, and then like I'd spew it back out to a camera. um
Okay.
and I would do like upcoming albums and upcoming concerts and stuff like that at the end of the show. And as the episodes passed, I ended up getting into interviews. And of course, the interviews started pretty basic. Like I had a middle school teacher at the time that was like really into music, so he came on and talked about his love for music. But then as the shows went on and I've gotten a little older, and I've made connections with people like Bars Over Bars, or even you guys, and a couple other like friends and stuff. I've started actually getting like real musicians and stuff on to talk about their
Yeah.
work and what they're doing. Pretty not dissimilar to what we're doing right now, except mine's a lot more scripted and a lot more Q&A rather than this like
Yeah.
general discussion that we're having right now.
Yeah.
But and then the part of like the upcoming albums and concerts and stuff had been lost because of our recording schedule made it not viable. So that's what the podcast was for, to be more up to date news and just general music discussion. And that's been a fun time. Next step is and this is still this has been paused for a bit. But Hero and I are actually working on putting on a JHR show under Bars Over Bars at some point or another.
Dope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, creating those collaborations is always important. You need those people that are definitely down to support you and just kind of keep the brand going. I mean, I've worked with, obviously I started, myself in music, and then, got together with Minds of One Collective Genius.
Hmm.
We're doing all that stuff now, and then,
I love the work they do.
oh, it's been awesome being a part of that team. Honestly, it's been great. And we're continuously expanding, on what we're trying to do. And it's all for, not only just for the artists, but for the community, and just helping support that. We'll have our MOCG Fest coming up soon in
Nice.
August. So, our yearly thing, and just trying to give back to the community with some live performances, and, a nice little fundraiser that we do every year. So I'm excited for that.
Awesome.
definitely be on the lookout for that. Where we have some pretty dope ideas for that. That's going to be a little bit different than past years. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, you gotta definitely build those teams. And then I created Right Mind, and it's all just kind of blended in with each other. Right Mind helps Minds of One Collective Genius, helps J Faith, helps. It
Mm-hmm.
all intermingles somehow, and it's been really cool, and it's exciting, and it's you're and I know you're gonna love how the process just continues as you build with bars over bars, and create that platform, and then you build you take a step up and build another platform. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was ecstatic when Ethos Focus reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do this with you today, because I would love to make more random appearances on podcasts like this. I love talking to people like you and the general community of this nature, uh, about just music, about everything, about filmmaking, whatever it might be. I just find it really fun.
Yeah, I mean. That's why I created this and set this up this way. Is I just love having conversations with people. It's just always fun.
Hmm.
So do you put like I know that you do the filmmaking. Does like the music piece? Is it like how do I put this? Is it more like production, or is it like DJ like maybe you see at a show? And the reason I say that is that, like are you maybe beats that you create into like filmmaking that you're doing? Are they tied in somehow?
So not
If that makes
really.
sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. I don't really
Okay.
tie the two in together much. Not yet, at least. In time, I'd like to make some DJ Witchcraft stuff for my filmmaking, but most of the time when I need music, I just hire somebody way more talented than me. Um, and like I don't want to like put myself down or anything by saying that, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. No,
like
I know.
I do DJ Witchcraft, like I've said, just pretty much for fun. I'm not
Sure.
like so like I had a project not too long ago where I hired this fantastic person that does a kind of similar thing that I do, but a lot better, uh, to write the soundtrack. But yeah, the DJ Witchcraft stuff is just kind of, yeah, it's more production because it's and I think I'm saying this for the first time, like in the public view, if you will, but all the DJ Witchcraft stuff is actually just like the pre-made Apple GarageBand loops that I've manipulated and put into a specific like rhythm or order or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like I find it fun. I don't really even call myself like a musician, if you will, because I'm not actually even really making anything for it, but I feel like I have the ear for it at the very least, like the ear to make it sound good.
Yeah, but I mean,
Uh,
that's where you start. I mean, I've like my first album that I ever released, I did on GarageBand, and
mhm.
I mixed and mastered it through GarageBand all by myself.
Yep.
Didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but uh, you just build from somewhere, and those I've said this before. Even programs like that, obviously, some people are gonna see it and be like, "Oh, it's just GarageBand. It's
Mhm.
whatever." But those types of programs like teach you the basics and really get you into what you're trying to do, and in structuring songs like that. Those are all key tools that most people skip out on, and they're just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go for the big, most expensive thing
Yeah.
and think I know everything." And no, it's like, now let's build the skills, let's build the tools, find the tools that I need, and go from there. So all I'm saying is, like, I'm not knocking, even if you are, using the loops, like, it still takes a creative ear to be able to put those things together in a specific way, to create something different.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Y-
My next release under DJ Witchcraft, I'd like to remove the loops altogether and actually like try and make something with my own hands, if you will. I do know how to play some instruments. I do know how to play like the piano and stuff like that. So I feel like I could use that for this. I just need like I'd need some more equipment because I don't really have any like MIDI keyboard or anything like that that would help in what I do. But it's all equipment that's like on my wish list, if you will,
yeah,
to get
for sure.
soon.
Yeah. I mean, you already know more than I do. I used to play piano back in middle school, and I kick myself all the time for not sticking with it.
Mm.
But I mean, you already have one up on me, so
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
very out
hey.
of practice nowadays because it's been a few years, but I'm sure it'll come back if I ever
Yeah.
try again.
Yeah, there's so many different things I want to try, and I need to learn to just do better at, making my time to learning those things. I mean, I want to learn drums, I want to learn piano, I'd love to learn the guitar,
Hmm.
but it's just, do I really want it? Yeah, so I need to make the time to reinvest myself back into those things.
Absolutely, yeah. Guitar is something I've tried a couple of times. I don't know what it is, man. My fingers don't have the kind of coordination for that. I can set up one chord, and play that perfectly fine, but
Yeah.
the idea of moving it like that quickly to do what a guitar needs to do,
That's
then
yeah.
then I have no ability to move that fast and know exactly where I'm going. I've tried so many times. They even tried to teach me in school. One of the music classes, I think it was in like early middle school, tried to teach us how to play guitar.
Hmm.
Couldn't couldn't do it.
That's me for drums,
Mm.
because like what my foot does and then what my hand has to do are two completely
Hmm.
different rhythms, and my brain just can't break away from just trying to do the same thing. It's like, no,
Mm.
you got to do something different. It's got to move somewhere else and not the way that you want it to. So it's that's where I struggle, is like getting out of my brain rhythm of everything being sequential and trying to do something different and quickly.
Mm. Yeah, no, I get that. I took some drum lessons. I was okay at it, but that was a ridiculous amount of time ago, and I definitely wouldn't be that good at it anymore.
For sure. I feel you. I feel you on that. Yeah. Like I've tried. I mean, I kind of tried to self teach, using
Hmm.
YouTube, but you can obviously find a bunch of different tutorials on YouTube. But even the basics, I would kind of get the rhythm, and then he was like, do this. And I was like, brain can't function. Nope, not happening. And
I
eventually
feel that.
I just get discouraged, even though I shouldn't,
Mm.
because it's brand new. And I tell that to all the kids that I work with. I'm like, it's brand new. It's something that you've never done. So how can you be good at it? And
Mm.
it's kind of a practice what you preach type of thing. And eventually I'll get back there. But until then, I think I'll just stick to rapping.
I mean, you're pretty good at it, so at least
I
that's
try.
something to hold you over, if you
Right.
will, while
Right.
while you figure out the rest of
Yeah.
it.
I'm hoping eventually, this will take me into my 9 to 5, as far as
Hmm.
be my 9 to 5, and then I will have a little bit more. Maybe I won't, but hopefully some free time where I can focus on that stuff instead of
Hmm.
music, my 9 to 5, and right
Yeah.
mind. It can just be right mind, music, and other stuff. That's the
I I would love to figure out how to make my filmmaking my 9 to 5 too. Although I'm still in college, so full time's not a thing. But still, whole point.
right. How has that been a balance for you? I mean, I don't know if we talked. I don't know if it was off air, on air. I can't remember, but just because maybe I'm getting old. But uh how's that balance been for you? Obviously, trying to be in school. Are you going to school for filmmaking,
I am.
or
Yeah.
okay? Um, how has that balance been as far as school to work to then incorporating your own personal filmmaking goals as well?
So this last year it was pretty bad. My balance got all out of whack. But in the previous years, I was doing pretty good, and I think that mostly just came down to the fact in the previous years I was only working one job. Like I said,
Mhm.
last year I had to work two jobs because the whole world is 10 times more expensive than it was last month. So,
Tell me about it.
um, but yeah, the work school creative life balance is something that I think I'm still trying to figure out and probably won't figure out until it's already too late and school's not a problem anymore. But I say I did a pretty good job, especially obviously my half of my freshman year and my entire sophomore year was held online
Okay.
because this lovely thing of the pandemic.
Makes
that
sense.
and that gave me like lockdown and stuff gave me a lot of time to focus on creative work, especially since I no longer had to work. My job did close for a few months there
Oh, okay.
during the height of it. Um, but yeah, I've been trying my best, and I only got one more year left anyway, and then I'll have
Nice.
to figure something out. And I do have ducks in a row for it to hopefully be have something ready by the time senior year ends. But we'll see how things go because I end of last year I filmed a television pilot pitch.
Okay.
Like
Dope.
me and my creative partner Varys shot a action comedy sci-fi pilot called
Okay.
Victoria Journey Through the Stars,
Hmm.
and I'm working with one of my professors at the school at the moment to get it pitch ready
Yep. Yep.
to
Yep.
hopefully actually pitch it to networks and such. So that's the current thing taking up my focus, if you will.
Man, that's a dope goal, especially
Oh yeah.
especially at 22, almost 22. That's crazy. Well, I mean, that's like dope things that I just like to see people doing is like just being creative and like really having like a good set goal, a good outlook on where they want to be, and not just like the reason I say that is I talk to a lot of kids like at my job, where I work with like teens and stuff like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
what do you guys like to do? What do you want to do when you get older? And they're like, I don't know. So and I need to like bring in people like you and other people and be like the like to talk with these kids to be like, listen, like it's okay to maybe have some idea and just kind of like start, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's okay to start now. You may not know exactly where you want to go, but like have, try to find something that you care about and are passionate about because, you can put yourself in a good position where, like you get, you got a year left, but getting out of college, you already have some sort of an idea. You'll have your
Hmm.
pitch ready and, you're working with all these people to move on to the next phase. And I feel like a lot of kids nowadays they're not looking for those phases. They're kind of just like,
Hmm.
just kind of floating by. And I'm like, dude, like you're missing out, man. There's so much out there for you to just pick up and just run with.
Oh yeah. And I think my best like piece of advice to that to anybody who is happening to listen and at any age really is as much as it might not seem like you'd want to, don't be afraid to like completely take it like a drastic change to what you're doing. Or like uh don't be afraid to try something new that might not fit what you were doing before, because like I started with comics. Like I thought I was going to be a comic writer or a comic artist. I created
Hmm.
all these characters and stuff, and then I started doing music and like writing the lyrics and was in the school band. I thought music was going to be my thing, and then the television production came about, and then that finally settled in the television production. Um, but who knows? 2 years from now, I might say I want to make a feature film, or like I might want to move into a completely different industry altogether. I might want to pursue the music again full time. Who
Yeah,
knows? But I think making that drastic change and being able to like kind of jump around is important when trying to find a direction in life. And I understand that like my upbringing and where I lived and where I grew up and stuff gave me the privilege to do so. Like I will definitely acknowledge the kind of like not handouts, but like ease
yeah,
of growing up, if you will, that I had, that it gave me the ability to set my path so early, um, that some people don't have. But it is still like making the most of what you have and trying
for
something
sure.
new in the process.
Definitely. But you have to try to go for something because, and I've said this before, when and I'm attesting to what you just said is like you tried this and then it kind of developed into something else and then that something else developed into something else, but like it was all like a sequence of events of things like kind of related, but you were able to find, in trying those things you figured out what you didn't like and then what you liked and then
Hmm.
moved on to, something closer and closer and closer to what you actually liked and enjoyed, and also just like I said, built those skills. So like, you like music. and then you're doing filmmaking, and those can go hand in hand. So like you're able to
Oh
kind
yeah.
of apply both of those things together in something that you are equally passionate about. Obviously I think filmmaking is a little bit more of
Yeah.
a passion for you, of course, but you know what I'm saying, like you do have that love of music, as we were talking, care
Hmm.
about just different bands, and you are able to just kind of dig that out. But again, like some of these kids nowadays, they're not even trying to
Mm.
dig it out. They're just like, I don't know, I'll just stick to my phone and try to be an influencer. It's like, dude, not that that's a bad thing, and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
knock influencers at all, but there's a lot more, and there's a lot more need for things, and you'd
Hmm.
be surprised with some of the things that you can get invested into. Like, again, I've taken some kids on some trips, and they were like, "Oh, I don't really want to do this, blah blah blah," and then
Mm.
they go, and then they're like, "Oh, that was like the best trip ever. I'm like so invested in what we're doing and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "See, like all you
Mm.
have to do is take that foot and take that step and get in there."
Exactly. Yeah. As somebody who once attempted to do the whole influencer thing, because I do still run YouTube channels. I just do it more for fun, of like having a platform to put the silly little things I film. But
Yep.
as somebody who tried to do the whole influencer thing, I get it. I get its appeal. I watch mostly YouTube, so like I'm more than well aware of where they're getting it. But I feel bad that that's the way most of the generation slightly younger than me is going, because
Yeah.
the world only needs so many influencers. And I'm talking big game for somebody that wants to go into the television industry, but
Right.
like
That's different. That's different. That's
yeah.
providing a much larger source of entertainment than just your Instagram. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
catch 22, because obviously, like nowadays, most people are stuck on their phones, surfing through TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. But I
Hmm.
mean, as a movie buff myself, I'm down to watch a picture, something funny, comedic, action, whatever.
Hmm.
I'd rather do
Sci-fi is my
that. And
mainstay.
sci-fi, I love
Yeah.
sci-fi movies too. I'd rather do that than be on my phone any day. So we still need it. I'm still demanding it. So keep going, because you do have a market out here. We still looking for it. So keep pushing, man.
Thank you.
And you'll find that balance. I mean, honestly, it took me going to college too, as well, as an example, not to say that that's where you always find it, but it took going to college and the jobs and the the side gigs and stuff like that to really find that balance of
Mm.
where to kind of piece things together, like, because it's like a trial and error now, like like now, when things lighten up, if you will, you don't have school, it's like, okay, like I already know how to manage my time, because I've been
Hmm.
doing it for the past 4 years in eight different things that I'm trying to do at once. But now it's like you already know, so it's like you already have that methodology in your brain of how you can kind of maneuver. So it's just like it becomes just like a sixth sense and just natural. You're like, okay, I got time for this to do this, and then time for this to do that, and
Hmm.
you're already like in that mode of, okay, like during this time, like I can do this, and then during this time I can do that. Like you'll figure it out. It'll come way more naturally, especially if you've been managing it thus far.
Hmm.
Once you're out, it'll come. You'll just be like, ah, cool. Like you
Definitely
just
hoping so.
fill the pieces with the where school kind of disappears. You'll fill with whatever it is that you're trying to do or advance
Hmm.
with.
One would dream, or one would hope. We'll see in about
Yeah,
a year.
it'll happen. It'll happen. So is it just you that is part of the kind of filmmaking? Do you have a team partner?
So I definitely have a partner who works with me on almost everything. In fact, I have two partners that work with me on just about everything. One more on the YouTube side, and one on the larger project side, like the television pilot and stuff like that. Um, my lovely friend of 15 something years now, Dan, who is my co-host on one of my YouTube channels, Fun Times with Dan and James, has also
Nice.
helped me write a bunch of scripts and acted for me in a whole bunch of stuff, and the two of us work great together, and obviously having such a long history of friendship makes things really easy and really natural and chemistry driven for something like YouTube. And then my creative partner on the bigger projects, his name is Varys, or their name is Varys. I apologize. Um, and they're really good at what they do, especially the script writing aspect of it, which is the primary thing that the two of us work on together. I'm really good at writing action,
Hmm.
and they're really good at writing dialogue.
Okay.
So like we bounce off of each other really well in terms of writing like bigger projects, something like Victoria with the sci-fi action comedy. He can, or they can write the comedy. I can write the the action.
Yeah. Right. No, I get what you're saying,
Uh,
and I forget if I mentioned this before. Somewhere is like you need that team of eyes, like somebody that's
mhm.
good at one thing and then somebody that's good at another thing, and then bringing them together to execute what it is that you're trying to do.
And then of course I have my whole group of college friends and stuff that are all going for filmmaking too that have helped in various roles. I have a friend who is like absolutely extraordinary at VFX and makeup.
Nice.
um well, yeah, she's going for VFX now, but makeup primarily, like makeups and prosthetics and stuff. She's really really good at it. And then I have another friend who's like a fantastic actor who loves doing it. So he's acted for me in a whole bunch of stuff. And uh, like there's a friend that loves editing, so they help me with editing and all that. So it's nice that going to school for film, I get
Right.
a whole bunch of people that are you know into their specific niches that we can all work together for a final product. The Victoria was the most collaborative project I'd ever worked on because for years, before that, I was used to doing pretty much everything myself,
Yeah.
or if not everything by
Same.
myself, like with only like maybe one to two other people um, helping me with ideas. You know, in the earlier years, mostly it was just my mom, if we're going to be honest. But uh,
Gotta do what you gotta do,
yeah,
man. You gotta do what you gotta do.
nowadays I've been working with a much larger team. There's even the newest like collaborator that I met through the actor friend, who is like a fantastic musician. It's the one that I mentioned, wrote
Hmm.
the soundtrack uh, for Victoria. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that. I mean, it's like what we do with Mind the One Collective Genius, and I'm glad that, especially, like, I didn't find them when I was going to college, but it was great to be able to find a group of people that were trying to accomplish the same goal, and needed as much from you as you needed from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we have, I'm sure you're aware of, like, photographers,
Yep.
videographers, producers, etc. But it's like you can't be a producer if you don't have an artist. You can't be a photographer if you don't have an artist. You can't be an artist if you don't have a photographer. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
beats. So it's like, just like you said, like especially starting in college, like definitely a great place to find those people and be like, hey, we're all trying to accomplish the same goal. You have what I need. You have what I need,
Mm-hmm.
and I have what you need. I was trying to make sure I said that
Yep.
right.
You did. You got it right.
And so it's like, let's just do this together because, I've said it before. There's a lot of people, like, especially in like music, they're like, they're just about themselves, and they'll figure it out themselves, they'll do it themselves, and it's like, dude, like, if you just ask people, like, they'll support you.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going after the same thing, you know what I'm saying? To build fans, that's a different thing. But
Yeah.
to build those connections with, like, people in the same career field as you, like, it's super dope to be able to find those people. And again, people that are the eyes,
Oh yeah.
that have their set skill base and something that you need, and be like, hey, like, let's just do this together. It's dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been incredibly like invaluable, especially starting to work on stuff with Varys because um, I feel like everything I've done since working with him, like or working with them fully on a creative basis, um, has upped the quality of everything I've done by 10 million. Trying not doing everything by myself again has made my
Right.
my stuff much better.
Right. And you're all on, like, the same, or roughly the same level as well too. Like, you're all learning the
Hmm.
processes within, each of your skill levels, that you're in, and going to school for, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like there's not that, well, I'm much better than you. I know more than you type of deal. It's like, no, like, we're
Hmm.
just literally taking each step together and going. And Like that's like the best part in finding those people. And if you get lucky, you find those people that are like 10 steps ahead of you and then like want to like pull you up and get there, which is sometimes very rare just because they're in their own level.
Hmm.
And that's not to knock them either because they're just in a different level. But you know what I'm saying? It's great to find those people that you're just like, hey, let's just take each step together, build together, grow. And like you said, like you've built this great team, and hopefully once you're out of college, your pilot will be good to go, and like you'll already have a team. Like, hey, so like, you ready to go? Like, yeah, I have such to do, so and so to do this, and this
Yeah.
person to do this, and like, you don't have to be like, oh well, I'm just like trying to like build my team, and
Hmm.
I'm trying to find somebody to do this, but not ready yet. They're gonna be like, okay, like we'll maybe wait for you to figure that out, and then it's like you already kind of have it. So it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you're definitely making those right moves and just connecting with those people, and then obviously like you said, taking that next step with bars over bars, just adding another expansion to it. It's just another great piece that you can just add to the repertoire. And we talked off air about some other things that you want to kind of eventually get into on
Hmm.
a little bit more on the music side. So it's like you said, just building that portfolio so that when people come knocking at the door, you can be like, well, I have A, B, and C,
Hmm.
ready for you. What is it that you're looking for?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. And working with Bars Over Bars has been great. I filmed a couple of shows, or I think I filmed a couple of shows with them. I I filmed Hero's video for the thing about me
Oh, okay. Yep.
off of Mission Hill.
Yep.
I was around during the release of that album. And I like we talked all the time at that point. I feel like our busy schedules have separated the two of us a little bit, but I still love Hero with all my heart. And I think what you guys and what Bars Over Bars is doing is fantastic. And once I find some free time to figure out that show with Bars
Right.
Over Bars, hopefully
Yeah.
it'll work out in time because I've been Hero and I've been talking about it for a long time now, but the biggest roadblock has been my schedule primarily.
Yeah, I feel you. It happens. I mean, it honestly happens. Like I've definitely, obviously, really diving into the right mind process has definitely added a little bit more to my plate than I would have maybe. Not that I wouldn't have liked, but because
Hmm.
obviously I signed up for this. But obviously I still have my own music career to focus on too. And sometimes you just kind of got to tackle these things. And one thing that I'm working on is just building even more of a team where it's just other people that can maybe put videos together, or
Hmm.
help put posts together and things like that to kind of alleviate some of the tasks that I have to do. And then, we can, I can continue to start, branching off into other things, just like you said.
Yeah.
So it's just a process and it'll happen. I mean, like I said, you're already building that team as it is. So hopefully, as you guys progress as a collective, you know, you can kind of create those roles, assign those roles where,
Hmm.
maybe you don't have to do X, Y, and Z, and like you can kind of pass that on to somebody else, that and know that they'll get it done and you don't have to
Oh yeah.
worry about it. And then you can, on, like the bars over bars or any other, venture that you're trying to do.
Yeah, that would be the dream.
Yeah.
And in
It's
time it'll happen.
all one step. Yeah, it's all one step at it all. You've got a good setup already. Don't fix what isn't broken. It's rocking with you. So just keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are I'm trying to think what else. There was something I was gonna say, and then as always, it always escapes my mind. And then, so we got your team. We got you got a film that's gonna be coming out. It's gonna happen. I'm telling you,
Oh
it's
yeah.
gonna happen.
Oh, I'm really hoping so. We're in the final stages of assembling the pitch deck as we
The
speak.
pitch. That's what it was.
Yeah, pitch deck is
Okay.
the official like document that you'd hand a network and be like, here's my show, Do you want it? The pitch deck usually includes stuff like the synopsis and like the season roadmap, if you will, like letting them
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you have a storyline that extends past 5 episodes.
Right, right.
um and like dream castings and mood boards and stuff like that. The last step that we're working on right now, which is it's funny that it kind of worked backwards, is we're doing storyboards right now,
Okay.
for the pilot script, which is ironic considering I already filmed the pilot. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
usually
yeah.
do storyboards for my own personal projects, but the person advising me on how to pitch said that I should. So an artist is working on that right now as we speak, hopefully. And my intention is to start the pitch circuit by the end of this summer into into early fall, hopefully.
Nice,
If I could
nice.
have the show sold or at least have the experience of running the pitch circuit for whatever the next project is by the time college ends, that would be like the absolute best scenario.
Definitely. I mean, I mean, I know, but then I probably don't know. Just the way the timing of everything, like especially if you can get into that circuit now, like you said, kind of your goal there. It's I'm assuming like once you're done college, like they'll be like starting to film like the full kind of scope of everything, just in knowing timing and stuff, or
Yeah,
you'll
let's
be.
say I sold the show at the end of the summer. I would say full production of the show would probably be around early next year, probably. Yeah,
Hmm,
because you'd have to go through the pre-production and then take some time off for the holidays. So full
of
production
course.
would probably be early next year if I was to sell the show by uh at the end of the summer. But that's the wishful thinking, if you will.
Of course, of course. How do you pitch something like that? And they're not like, oh, I put and what I'm saying is like not like I put a video together and then but like how do you get it to like these networks and stuff? The reason I ask is like I think of it in like a music aspect is like obviously I have albums and stuff and I'm like always like trying to think of like how can I get these albums into like the right people's hands? Like how does that work for filmmaking?
So as far as my research has given me, um you need to find some form of representation, be it a lawyer or an agent or something, or like a manager, if you will, to like somebody with industry connections to actually like you know push the script
Gotcha.
to whatever
Okay.
networks you're after.
Yeah.
I've yet to actually get to that part of the process, so I
Okay.
can't quite answer that to the full confidence. I can only tell you what I've researched into.
Mhm.
My lovely professor that's helping me, I think, will help me with that aspect of it when we inevitably get that far.
Nice.
um, but yeah, as far as I'm to understand, like hiring an agent or a manager or like something of that nature, somebody with connections, is pivotal in like getting it in the hands of everybody. And if they like it, then that's when you go in and be like, here's my sci-fi action comedy show called Victoria, and here's why you should buy it. Kind
Gotcha,
of thing.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah. So a little bit similar to the music industry, you
I'd
know,
say it's fairly similar to the music industry. Yeah.
getting that manager who can without like actually signing a deal, but like you can still kind of remain independent and not get screwed over by a label. But that's neither here nor there. No knock on labels because some of them do have your best interest. But
Some.
um yeah, right. But no, I get what you're saying. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I definitely. That's another thing I've been trying to think of is like maybe getting a manager or something like that. I don't
Mm.
know. But then, it's another investment, which again, it's a
Mm-hmm.
good one, but
Yeah.
it's an investment nonetheless.
It's an investment that unfortunately is not guaranteed to pay itself back.
Right,
That's, I
exactly.
think, the biggest thing.
Right. Well, if you ever need any hip hop music for your film, please let me
Oh
know
yeah,
because I'm always
absolutely. Yeah.
that's another thing that I would definitely like to try to get into is whether it's like films or even like video games. I know somebody that has been trying to do kind of the video game thing, NBA 2K, getting their music on there. And I know there's a couple platforms that I can reach out to, but that's definitely something that I definitely want to try to kind of
Oh
branch
yeah.
into on the
Because how
music
many
side.
pop punk bands got famous off of Tony Hawk?
That is my game. I don't even
Yeah.
care what anybody says. That is my game and I
Oh,
still rock the.
I love the Pro Skater series and the Underground series.
Yeah, and they had the
Uh,
best soundtracks for
oh
those
yeah.
2. They crushed it. I actually did one of my songs called Dad's Flow. Somebody had reached out to me and was like, "Dude, you should, like, definitely submit it for, like, Tony Pro that, like, we could hear that on, like, a Tony Hawk Pro Skater," and I was like, "I need to find a way to do that. That would be
oh yeah,
awesome. That would
that
be
would be
super dope."
awesome.
But, again, one of those goals and one of those things that I just gotta do my research, do my
Hmm.
time, and figure it out for
Yeah.
sure. But, as we're getting kinda close to the end, what are some things that people can kinda keep an eye out for you? I know we've kinda touched on a couple of things, but just to kinda reiterate, maybe what are some things that people can be looking out for you, whether it's a show, a film that may be coming out, some other piece of content? What is something that people can kinda be looking out for you in the near future?
Yeah. So I don't really have anything huge planned at the moment, but my primary YouTube channel, the Fun Times with Dan and James one I mentioned beforehand, um, it has not posted a video in over 2 years at
Okay,
the moment
okay.
because I was taking the time off to focus on projects like Victoria. But I have started the filming process of getting new videos up on there, so that's probably the next place you'll see me, other than my other YouTube channel, which you can find through Fun Times actually, which is a video game discussion channel talking about specifically stuff related to PlayStation properties, and that's
Okay.
called James Station. So
Dope, dope.
yeah,
Okay,
in
okay.
terms of DJ Witchcraft, I don't think you'll be seeing too much from me soon because I got to learn some more instruments first and learn some buy a MIDI keyboard and stuff like that. But you can find me if you want to listen to music on all major streaming platforms. Gotta love that lovely distro kid.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so you can find me on all major streaming platforms, whatever you happen to choose to listen to. So I appreciate that.
Cool, cool. And where would be the best place, especially those that are listening and obviously can't see our screen, but where would be the best place for people if they wanted to connect with you, maybe ask questions, obviously on the filmmaking or music side, and just connect with you best?
Sure. So all of my creative work gets funneled through the Instagram account at dueling underscore dragon underscore ent, or I think if you just search dueling dragon entertainment, it's bound to come up, or something of that nature close to it. But yeah, for those of you listening, dueling underscore dragon underscore ent. I'd be happy to talk to anybody that wants to message me. I will, in the wake of this, I will start checking my requests a little bit more often because unfortunately, I sometimes I involuntarily ignore the requests and then people wait for way too long to message me. But yeah, if you want to be involved in anything, have any questions for me, or want to be like I said, be involved in any of my work, that's the best Instagram account to find me through because that's where all my creative stuff gets funneled through.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, I'm really bad sometimes at those the messages. Well, because they like I don't get notifications for it sometimes,
Me
and
either.
it's in like the other folder that they
Hmm.
have, like the secret messages. I'm like, why is it a secret? It's just somebody
Yeah,
that I'm not friends with that wants to send me a message. I mean,
yeah.
half
Like
the time it's yeah.
the best example I can think of that is I had a band reach out to me from the UK recently. They wanted me to listen to their new single early and then promote it on the James's House of Rock accounts.
Hmm. Yeah.
And they had messaged me probably, let's say, even a week ago. They wanted me to listen to the single early, like I said, and it was coming out on the 24th. Unfortunately, I didn't see the request or open it up
Mm,
until the 24th. So the single was already out. I have fulfilled it now. We did our little promotional thing, and the
nice.
single's amazing. Their name is Bear Shoe. If
Okay.
anybody wants to check them out, they're also on any streaming services. They were very nice to reach out to me and offer the lovely single early, and I do actually really like the music. So
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I mean, I'm always down to listen to a lot of different music. And,
yeah,
I've got some connections out in the UK too. So always, shout out to the UK.
of course.
Well, awesome, man. I really appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come on the podcast today. Look forward to getting this up so more and more people can stay connected with you and hopefully learn a little bit more about what you're trying to do, and just kind of watch the progress. And hopefully we'll be seeing a brand new TV show by the end of next year.
Yeah. If you do, I'll be right back on here to promote it. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll schedule you in there, man. We'll keep it open. I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna put it out there, and it'll happen, man, for sure.
Absolutely. Sounds great. It's been a lovely time being on this podcast. I really appreciate you and Right Mind and Mind a Collective Genius reaching out to me. Um, and I'd love to be more involved with you guys in the future, coming to shows and stuff like that.
Definitely. We'll definitely keep you in the loop with that.
Yeah,
Obviously, we follow each other, so we can, stay in the loop with that as far as that
of
goes
course.
too. Well, man, one last time, thank you, 1,000 thank yous.
And thank
But
you.
until next time, my name is Jay Faith. This is DJ Witchcraft, and this is the Right Mind Wednesdays podcast. We'll catch y'all later.
See you guys later.
What's up?